Yes, what's going on, people? Back again. Raps on TV. Yes, yes. You get a text that destabilizes you. But Raps on TV. What's going on, people? Here to talk the best things in boxing, as per usual. It's your man Kojo here with my boy Sam. What's good, brother?
What's happening? Weekend of boxing. This week of boxing is looking all kind of crazy. Crazy. Looking forward to it, man. Friday, Saturday, and the rest.
I'm telling you, man. There's some I'll say some decent fights, but I think there's one main sort of culprit this weekend. So we'll chop into the agenda. We're going to be talking about Dubois versus Joyce. Remember, people, we want to hear your predictions. We want to see you call in, give us that viewpoint, let us know what's on your mind. Don't forget the numbers 01506 353 955. Back again as always. Call in, let us know your opinion, give us your comment, or even ask us a question. But we've got the Dubois versus Joyce, the very random but very intriguing, very mysterious return of Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. Looking forward to getting into that, seeing what the guys are going to be saying. Yes, there we go. Fans already. Yes,
Inam. What you saying, bro? Back from Dubai?
Back from Dubai. He's there, following it up. Definitely look forward. Want to hear you, hear your thoughts, hear your predictions. We're also going to get into the Benn versus Formella reaction. Benn winning over on the weekend, and then randomly Crawford and Bob Arum. It looks like the honeymoon is over. Definitely seems like there's a bit of trouble in paradise. Going to kick into that in a bit more detail, and obviously this weekend's fight on Matchroom, DAZN, Crawford versus Rosado. We're going to get into that and get your opinions and thoughts. But I think really and truly we've got to start the place to be. There's nowhere else to start other than by saying, please remember to like,
share, subscribe.
All of that. You know, we need more fans. We need more interaction. We want to speak to the boxing public. But the best and first topic we're going to start with. Let's get the easy one out of the way. I'll say the easy one. Let's get that one out of the way. The man, your homeboy,
my homeboy, CB, Conor Benn.
Yes,
bro. Let me kick into it.
Yeah, go ahead, bro.
First of all, congratulations to him. He boxed the way to compete, and he shows people that he's got top level ability. Now, whether that's enough to kind of push on to be at world levels, there are still questions. But one thing we need to know about Conor Benn is that Conor Benn's not scared to fight. He will jump in the ring if he needs to. He will step. He's ready because he's got that kind of chip on his shoulder that everyone thinks he's kind of got a hall pass because of his dad. And he showed that he's capable of learning. His dad's a bro. Look, his dad. He made it very clear to take his dad out of his camp, not to have his dad involved, and just to be at distance so he can really focus and be treated as any kind of boxer, kind of hard coming. And Tony Sims, to be fair to him, has done an unbelievable job of Conor Benn to get him from struggling with journeymen like Luke Kelleher to now being in there with Formella in the space of a couple of years. I think credit is where credit's due. Whether he's fighting Josh Kelly and can beat Josh Kelly or not, I don't know, man. I think he needs a couple of fights more, a few more learning fights before he can get there. But hopefully he proves me wrong. Like he said, he outworks all these fours in his Range Rover. So
there you go. I was going to say, big up Zane Moose in the comments. 5K, made 5K on that fight. Easy money. Good to hear. Hopefully we're going to get some of that contribution as well.
Yeah,
and going to go to his comment. I think it's the best place, really. Zane Musa says, Kelly is next, I hear. What about Congo? I think the Congo fight is probably unlikely. But let's talk about Josh Kelly. Conor Benn was quite vocal after the fight. He was quite aggressive and persistent in saying that he wants to take on Josh Kelly. You've obviously touched on that. I mean, what do you think Josh Kelly brings to the table for a fight like Conor Benn? What kind of challenges?
He brings just a load of technical expertise that Conor Benn hasn't had the pleasure of having because he's amateur. He's very light amateur pedigree, or basically non-existent. You've got someone Olympian like Josh Kelly who knows how to move. People are arguing that he hasn't kind of lived up to his expectation, but partially that's due to injuries he's had. He hasn't always had the kind of smoothest ride in the boxing journey, but he's been able to get out. I think Adam Booth was just kind of, I just saw the smirk in his face, like when he was at Sky Sports doing the interview. He's ready. I think if he could take the fight now, I think Adam Booth will. But ultimately, they've got Avanesium, I believe, in January, if that's correct. And after that fight's done in January, Josh Kelly's going to have a top 10 ranking. And then I think they're waiting for Josh Kelly's stock to go up before they have that Conor Benn domestic dust-up, because ultimately Conor Benn's got a huge pool of fans that, you know, Josh Kelly can ultimately take and kind of show he's the best welterweight in the UK. But ultimately, in my eyes, none of these guys are about it unless they fight Congo, in my opinion.
Yeah. Oh, you got Alan Lamb who's saying, big up yourself, Alan. Love for the comment. He's available.
Shout out to Alan, man.
Ranked number 1 on the PS3. I like that. Got to see your credentials, but yeah, I got to agree with you, Sam. I think you know, Josh Kelly is just a level above. I think, you know, Adam Booth. Well, I like Adam Booth, and I think he's usually pretty honest with his assessment of fights. And you know, when you could see in him, he just felt that, listen, if Conor Benn was to face Kelly, it would be a long, difficult night for him, because, you know, Kelly, whilst I think there is a bit of hype around him, you know, the Matchroom band and brigade are behind him, I think that we can see technically he's a good fighter. I think he's going in there with a lot tougher tests. This was a good test for Conor Benn. I would never deny that. But I think a year ago, not many people knew of Formella. He really got recognition from losing to Sean Porter. So whilst it's good that Benn's challenging himself, I think he should probably take another fight before he jumps in with a Josh Kelly, especially if Josh Kelly's able to do an impressive performance over Avanesian. I think that's going to be a big ask for him. But like I said, you know, you got to big him up. I'm just talking about the other fights on that Matchroom card. I got to say, I think whilst it wasn't a fantastic performance, I do like Fabio Wardley. I don't know, my countryman, so I've got to be honest on that front. But I think Wardley, I like the way he moves. He seems like he puts his punches together quite well. Yeah, I'll definitely be intrigued to see what happens there. Just moving on, Alan Lamb says Chris Jenkins, British champ, is a good fight, but he's Warren and Benn with her. Yeah, that's a good point. You know, maybe that's one of those bridger fights that Warren has spoken about. I'm pretty certain Warren would love to put Jenkins in there with Benn, but yeah, let's see. So yeah, we're moving on. Fabio Wardley, he was really my other standout performer. How about yourself?
Yeah, no, Fabio Wardley, I like him. That's a really, really, really good signing for Dillian Whyte. How he is. His story is phenomenal. Like, it's Dillian Whyte-esque kind of story. Kind of big in the white collar. Similar story to Joe Fournier. Went into in white collar and made was killing guys at white collar level, started sparring with a few amateurs, pros, and then built himself up to get to where he is. He's got a good branding. He's big, he's tall, he's strong, and he's really well and carries himself well. And your uncle that was doing all the dancing to the ring, you know, all that. This is what I'm saying. Nigerians can dance better than Ghanaians. Facts.
I wouldn't say facts on that, but I won't co-sign that.
Listen, he's a joker, bro. But I liked it. I liked his energy. I think we're going to see a lot more of him, especially kind of that gap before you get to the top in terms of the heavyweight ranking. But yeah, Wardley was good. People started saying stuff about how your fellow countryman faked it down. To be honest, it didn't look that way. I just thought that was just a really good shot because he did sting him with the jab to start off with, and then that kind of stunned him a bit because of the way he was walking. But look, onwards and upwards for Fabio Wardley because he was set to fight Lucas Brown that pulled out, I believe. So I think, where does Fabio Wardley go from here? Just keep learning. Just keep soaking up your fan base. Just keep going around, getting yourself on these undercards, and then get yourself to the level that you need to before you start challenging. Take it slowly. Go English, British. Go English, then British. Really build your way up, I think. I think slow and steady is definitely going to win the race for him, especially with the weight that these heavyweights are in the scene. Especially with Dubois and Joyce coming to this, which I know we're going to touch on.
Yeah, no, and I think, you hit the nail there. I think no better place to start other than the clash. I think this is one of the biggest domestic clashes that we're going to see since the COVID lockdown. The fourth time of asking, so it's rightly called At Last. We have Daniel Dubois taking on Joyce. Before we get into that, let's just go over the credentials. Daniel Dubois coming in there, 15-0.
15-0.
14 KOs, very high percentage. You see that 93.3. But Joyce, not underrated either. He's coming in 11.
Same ratio. Same knockout ratio, man.
Exactly. He's in the high 90s. So, listen, I think this is going to be really a huge fight. I mean, the more I have to say, when I first heard about this fight, this was pre-COVID, I really did fancy Joyce, and I say really did. Probably going to speak in past and present tenses. But I really fancied Joyce. I felt, everyone was saying Dubois. I think they're just over putting a bit of hype on Dubois and underestimating Joyce. As the weeks, months have gone, I keep going back and forth, bro. So I'm not going to give my prediction now. I will do by the end. But, bro, this is going to be a very, very close fight. For you, I want to ask you, bro. Have you watched any of the face-to-faces, number one? And number two, like, do you really think, from a challenge perspective, do you think Dubois is taking on more than he can chew?
Very, very tough question. Good question, but tough, because a guy like Daniel Dubois, I always talk about this every time I mention Dubois, but, Dubois kind of speaks about how heavy his father, how much of an influence his father has been on him, and how he's always pushed him to be somewhere and kind of rushed him into it. That's what I take from it. He hasn't said that, but I've taken it from it, because he was in the England team and then he chose to opt out to the old-fashioned way and not go via the standard amateur Olympic route. He's done the rounds of trainers. From what I've heard, he approached Don Charles to train him. He approached Tunde. He approached all the kind of UK, Southeast, East, North, all the people in London to kind of train him. He's naturally always taken off, always bitten more than he can chew. He's always taken more. He's always been an ambitious guy. So is Joyce really someone that's too big for him? I don't think so. He's got a reasonable amateur pedigree as well, Dubois. So I just feel that it's sink or swim for him. I think he really wants to solidify himself as a heavyweight prospect and really go from just being a prospect to really try and push on. But Joyce isn't going to be easy. Joyce is a very well-drilled, well-skilled, well-oiled machine. As though his box is not the prettiest, he delivered the goods, man. But I think Dubois is just explosive, exciting. And if anyone had to win based on kind of knockouts, I would put Dubois there, Triple D, just because of the way he is. He's so quietly confident. I sent you the interview he had earlier, BBC. Like, people think he's a bit slow in the head and everything, but look how articulate he is, how well spoken he is, how he can carry himself. Like, he's a guy who knows what he's doing. He just doesn't want to make friends in the industry, and that's absolutely fine, as long as you keep bulldozing them. Yeah,
that's a good point, though, in terms of he doesn't want to make friends in the industry. I think he's got an interesting sort of like mix. He's got a confidence belief. Here's Inam coming in. Dubois will smoke Joyce. Look forward to hearing your call and the breakdown why Joyce too slow, won't be able to move out the way. Okay, interesting. Alan Lamb, fair play to them for taking biggest risk for the domestic fight. This one need to see more boxers taking risks. Totally agree. I think, look, they both said it, and this perception that Joyce is slow. And I was going to come on, but this perception that Joyce is slow. Do you think
he's not?
Well, number one, I would say that's the answer to that. But do you think then maybe his punch variety gets overlooked? Because as much as he's slow, I think he's got heavy hands, but I think he punches a lot. He throws a lot of shots, and I'm not just talking, just pounding your head. Like, he can vary up. Like, he can hook to the body, he can do an uppercut, he can then jab, he can throw up with a right and come back down. Like, he's got a good skill set. What do you think?
Yeah, 100%. Joyce has got that Nigerian blood in him. He can fight, man. He's a tough guy. He's very, very fit. He's a machine. Like I say, he's a well-oiled machine. He can keep going and throwing. He's very fit. He's very athletic, and he's got, he's got very unique athletic ability. With someone of his side and how muscle bound he is, he's able to absorb and take and really throw as many punches. You don't really see Joyce in his fights tiring out. And you see that with Dubois, because Dubois fights never really go the distance. But with Joyce, he's got a lot of energy and a lot of strength. And I think, if it goes in the later rounds, you might want to favour Joyce, because Joyce has got the amateur pedigree. He's fought at the top level. he can keep going. My question will be Joyce, has Joyce got Dubois got the stamina? Ultimately, watching that video between Warren and Sam Jones was classic, man. That was good.
I mean, and you mentioned there, you speak about the stamina. I think again that's going to be a good test, and this is what I like about this fight. There's tests for both guys. I think, you know, as much as Joyce has this deeper resume, if we were going to ask ourselves, would Dubois be able to beat, you know, the likes of Stiverne, Jennings, you probably Ian Lewiston, you probably would say yes. I think you would probably say yes. So whilst bro, your background, right? Whilst Dubois is not on the level in terms of CV, and we've not seen him tested in terms of, you know, in the ring, I just think there's something about his power. I think also maybe his intelligence is slightly underrated in terms of he does know how to fight. I think we just haven't seen that game from him. What I like with him and is the confidence he's got in himself. Now that doesn't mean you're going to win the fight, of course not. But what it tells me is that he doesn't look at Joyce as being a huge challenge. And I think that's just going to make for an interesting fight. I think none of these guys are really going to be on the back foot. Yes, Dubois likes to maybe step back to extend the right, but I think both of these guys are going to be kind of trying to walk each other down, and it's just going to be non-stop action. Pretty similar to the Babbage. So one thing I want to ask you in terms of, we've spoken about the CV, we've spoken about the speed of Joyce, we're talking about Dubois' obviously resume, power. And not just power in terms of punching power. I'm talking about power of the chin. Whose chin do you think really is going to stand up?
Ooh. Do you know what?
You don't want to go on the line. That's what it is, man. You're shook. Don't be shook, bro. Just say it as it is.
Joyce has got a strong chin. I feel like Joyce is just strong. I think Joyce could just have it. That's what I also rate Dubois' power. I feel that Dubois' power, if it lands on Joyce and it drops Joyce, I think, you know, I don't think Dubois got a stronger chin as Joyce. I think, you know, if Joyce lands heavily on Dubois, Dubois is in trouble. But equally, I feel like Dubois got to put a array of shots together to really stun and take out Joyce. Because like Sham G just said, I was about to say that. Literally took the words out of my mouth.
Big up Sham G.
Dubois hasn't actually, you know, he hasn't been tested. People could say Gorman tried to test him or whatever, but come on, Gorman wasn't really troubling Dubois.
Yeah. But going into that fight, obviously people were rating Gorman. I know now it's come to light that he's had some issues, but he wasn't to know that. But I think it's fair to say his chin hasn't been tested. And again, that's what I'm really looking forward to. And then there's also that sprinkle, listen, let's call it, I'm going to say it, there's also that sprinkle of whether a fighter is special. And it feels like the markings of Dubois could be a little bit special. Now, who's the better boxer? For me, it's clear, Joe Joyce. You look at his amateur pedigree, you look at
course, man.
We all saw him.
Judging on paper,
exactly.
On paper, Lomachenko is better than Teofimo. But
that's what I'm saying. A lot of the better boxer doesn't always win the fight. So yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to this. I can't wait. We're looking forward to get the guys' predictions as well. So moving on though, before we go to the lines, want to get your thoughts on this whole Bob Arum, Terence Crawford split. It seems like it's going to be over soon. Bob Arum openly saying he could have built a house with all the money he spent on Crawford. In that disrespect is next level. Then there's a follow-up quote, the interview this weekend, where he's openly saying, look, he's washed all his hands with Crawford. He's down to Todd Dubois to manage him. Todd Dubois is the president of Top Rank. I mean, bro, how do you salvage this relationship, number one? And two, where's the best place for Crawford to go?
What are you asking me, man? You know, PBC, bro. As everyone knows, PBC. It's like it's engraved in him. I mean, I'll be very, very, very surprised if the Zone or Lou DeBello or any of those guys try to put a bid in for him. But ultimately, the Zone don't have the money like they claim, but they might have a pool of money coming in just for him, because I reckon, let's say a tenth of what they offered Canelo in that long fight deal, if they gave that to Crawford, I'm sure he'd be quite happy. Now this is, and I know Crawford's personal pocket, but I think a tenth of that deal, that 300 billion, I think Crawford will happily take with both hands. And it's a great chance to see if Eddie Hearn can really promote and sell numbers, which we know he can. He can. And I feel he'll build the right hype with the Matchroom USA team around Crawford. But then that's a whole load of politics itself. Matchroom USA and PBC, do they have the best relationship going forward? Do they have the best working relationship? Not sure. So ultimately, I would say go PBC, but don't be surprised if DAZN put in a sweeping for him, because ultimately DAZN are under pressure, I believe. I don't know the facts. I feel they're under pressure to deliver top fights. And, you know, as much as Jacobs Rosado is a good fight, where's the American fights been? What big card has there been?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And I think, so yeah, we're seeing the image there with Crawford. And I mean, I think for me, I'll be honest, you know, I've always said PBC. I think he should just be independent. I think he should actually follow the Canelo route. And it's kind of similar to the Mikey Garcia deal as well, where Mikey Garcia has an agreement and he's obviously fought on PBC, but he's also fought on DAZN. So I think having that freedom to sort of like negotiate your own deals, maybe it might restrict your purse, because, you know, long term you can't get an agreement for a contract value, you know, a 3 or 4 year contract. But I think that freedom is going to be worthwhile, because, you know, they're still unsure what's going on with Keith Thurman at the moment. He's not necessarily fully tied to PBC. So yeah, that's a big fight for him. Same with Pacquiao. Pacquiao's got a 1-fight deal left with PBC. So it could be in a year's time you end up signing with PBC, and then all of a sudden you've just got Errol Spence, and they're not going to give you Errol Spence straight away. So yeah, I think if he was to be an independent fighter, I think that would work well. And hopefully deals can still get made. I do think the next few months are going to get messy though, because you're listening, in my opinion, I'm listening to what Bob Arum's saying. I think you're going to get Bomac start coming up talking crap. And then I think you're going to get Terence Crawford's sister's going to come on the scene also talking smack. And she's active on Twitter, bro. Anyone that is on Twitter, go and follow his sister. She is active. So I think it's going to get quite messy. And for someone of Crawford's level, I think it's going to be a shame, because it's bad enough fighting to get the fights you want, the fights you demand, whether it was Pacquiao, now it's Spence. To have to be fighting with your own promotional company, yeah, it's bad business. Sorry to say it, but it's bad business.
No, it's not good. It's not good. But clearly, Aram's frustrated. Crawford doesn't sell tickets to the extent that they want him to them to make the money. DAZN, I think it's not a bad move for him to fight on DAZN. But so, you know, I don't want to sign. If you're Crawford, you're thinking, I don't want to commit to PBC until I've seen Spence versus Garcia, because the only fight for me is Spence, really. And then everything else is just kind of that. So you kind of want to see where Spence is before that and how Spence is after the accident, but go from there. But ultimately, look, if we're talking about Matchroom, I don't think they're struggling, but for the USA market, I don't think they're doing as well as what they once thought or hoped. Because you've got Jacobs headlining against Rosado, and then you've got Ndongo fighting. I forgot who he's fighting, but Ndongo's on the undercard. Terence Crawford knocked out in dramatic fashion. So.
And he's moved up a division as well. So, yeah, I think that's going to be interesting. I mean, just moving on that before we go to the lines. So those of you that are listening in, tuned in, please make sure to dial the number 01506 353 955, and make sure you leave a comment on YouTube or Facebook. The support is much appreciated. But for those of you that would like to get a tip, I will recommend that you all go and watch the PBC behind the scenes. I'll say all series. Danny Garcia versus Errol Spence, or whichever way you want to flip it. Really good. Bro, I'm not going to lie. I was watching it and I'm like, damn, you know, you think back, it's been over a year since that crash. They show some of the footage, you see his face. And I'll be honest, when I hear Spence speak, like he says it's second chance. I think this is going to be a huge fight. But I think the most interesting thing in all of this is that Danny Garcia is up for it. Now, he's obviously fought for world titles at welterweight twice before. Thurman, Sean Porter, lost both of them. I think this time they believe that they can cause Spence some damage. Everybody does that, which is strange. Garcia thought the same. Porter thought the same. But with Danny Garcia...
that fight with Spence, though, that Porter-Spence fight, that was close, man.
That was close, yeah.
That was really. I think it was the slap flash knockdown at the end, or towards. I can't remember where it was.
That was definitely a big. I think that definitely stretched.
Yeah, spun it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be surprised if it was a draw.
Yeah, that's a fair point. That is a fair point. So yeah, bro, I think Yes, this was from Alan Lamb. Great shows. Want to stay and listen, but the missus wants a few rounds. Yeah,
Oh wow!
is that you? Yeah.
Wow!
Don't go with a Viagra. Don't go with a Viagra. Go with the Magnums. The Magnum will keep you going longer, son. But yeah. So when you look at it, all jokes aside, I think what I found quite interesting in that piece was that they never refer to Errol Spence potentially dying. They always, it's like, if for me, I pick up on the small details. They always repeatedly say he survived, whether it's the narrator, whether it's Spence, whether it's Derek James. One of the they always say, yeah, big up Alan Lamb, enjoy the night with the missus, call in next week, let us know how it went. With that, I think that whole surviving piece, very, very key part. So listen, let's go out to the lines. I can see eagerly awaiting. First on the scene, Uncle Boxing.
Uncle Benga.
Uncle Benga.
Hello, guys.
How you doing, sir?
How you doing?
Not too bad. So I heard I did prediction show today. So I think let's make a change. You guys ask me the questions and I'll tell you what I think.
Okay, let's start. Who's going to win between Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr.?
Oh, I'm going for a draw.
That's the first time I think we're going to ever see you sit on the fence, right?
Yeah.
Okay, but also, all jokes aside, we've got to talk about the main one, Uncle. Dubois versus Joyce.
I'm going for, I haven't changed. I'm going for Joyce, the juggernaut, to overrun dangerous Daniel Dubois. I think it's the wrong fight at the wrong time for dangerous Daniel Dubois. I'm going for the experience, the fitness, the physicality, the now and experience of Joyce to overcome dangerous Daniel Dubois.
Okay. I hear you, Uncle. Talk to me then. Talk to me about.
How did it go? Yes, go on, Sam. Sorry.
Talk to me about Jacobs versus Rosado. Who wins?
Oh, I have no doubt that Jacobs is going to beat Rosado clearly. I've got no doubts about it. Do you?
Yeah, no, of course. I think Rosado's just looking for a payday, and Jacobs the person to target.
Okay. Look, I want to commend. I heard what you said, and I feel it's only right to commend Conor Benn for his performance at the weekend. I don't think, not for 1 minute, do I think Conor Benn is going to become a world champion or anything of the sort. But I do believe he will now fight for the British title, and good on him. I don't, when I first saw him, I thought, oh, God, this boy is a mistake waiting to happen. But what you cannot doubt is he's put in a lot and he's improved. But I think British level is going to be his level.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure I can see him beating what's the name of the Josh Kelly. He's improved. So we need to give credit where it's due.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, and that's fair. I mean, I was critical of him in the past. I think he didn't do himself any favors though, just going for Josh Kelly. But that's ambition, right? So yeah, fair play to him. So Uncle, just talk to me. I think I know you've picked Joyce, but a question I want to ask you more on the technical side: how could Dubois win? If I know you're saying Joyce would win, but if Dubois was to win, what do you think the best route for him to victory would be?
Look, Dubois is. It's not anything that Dubois is doing wrong, but what I've noticed is he's a competent boxer, he's Dubois. But it's okay to look competent when nobody is hitting you back. I think his defense Spence needs to be very, very good on the night. You know, I mean, he throws punches well, but the truth of the matter, he's a good fighter, but I do think he's over. I do think he's overhyped. If I was Dubois, the tactic for him to win should not be to go out to try and knock out Joyce. The tactic should be try and get on his feet, try and box in a circle. You know, try and use if your hands are marginally faster. Use that box. Try and keep away from the juggernaut and be in great shape and try and make a decision. But he's going to go in there and he's going to go in there trying to knock out Joyce. And that's going to be his undoing.
Okay.
In my opinion.
No, we respect that. We respect that totally. So, Uncle, last point before we move on to the next caller. Crawford and Arum. We spoke about the split in Paradise. What's your take on all of that?
Well, okay. Look, my view about this, my understanding is that the contract is about to end. Yeah. I mean, Bob Arum is now at that age that I think, pardon my French, if there are any younger callers, Bob Arum actually doesn't give a shit.
Yeah.
You know, he's almost a bit, you know, he's losing money on Crawford. So, you know, if you can't promote Crawford, then, you know, I mean, Crawford is a decent guy. Let him move over to PBC and we can get I think if they split, it's good news. But it brings the fight with the winner of my man, Errol Spence, and my man, Garcia closer.
Yeah.
Who both guys, I mean, I don't know if I've said it to you guys, but I actually think both guys will beat Terence Crawford.
Yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And we didn't hear that one before, but okay. Well, let's see what happens next.
I don't like to give you everything. I think we have many shows, don't we?
Yeah, fair point. Okay.
You know, so, but I thought it was time to throw that out there that I think both my men, Errol, Spence Jr., EJ, and DSG, Daniel Swift Garcia, both have the beating of Crawford, who's a great fighter and deserves to be ranked pound for pound the best in the world right now, alongside my guy Canelo.
Okay, no, I appreciate that. Says Uncle, we're going to leave you to it and move on to the next caller. But thank you for your support as always, and look forward.
Bye, guys.
See you. Yeah, take care. So going out to 985, Mr. Appiah. How you doing, sir?
How you doing, fellas?
We're doing good.
All good, bro.
It's a Champions League night.
Yeah.
Good
stuff. Just wanted to say just a couple of points. Conor Benn on Saturday night, I thought he's brilliant. I thought he showed good maturity, and I'm hearing a little bit. People are he can only maybe get to British level. I think if he keeps his head down, grinds, keeps himself disciplined, he's obviously hungry, then I think he could do all right. You know, I think he's come a long way from since the first fight I saw him. So onwards and upwards for Conor Benn in a very talented division. So I think it's all good going forward.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's all good. Yeah, I think it's all gravy for him going forward, lad. So, yeah.
Well, that makes sense, Dan. What do you make of him calling out Josh Kelly though? Is he biting off a bit more than he can chew?
Nah, fucking listen. You have to show ambition. As a man, you got to show ambition. Do you know what I mean? You got to show ambition. He's in a competitive sport, a warrior sport. He wants the best. he wants to prove that, like he was saying about, silk pajamas and all that, he wants to prove that he's got the metal to grind, to grit, and to dig in. So you know what? Let him fight, Josh Kelly. 2 men in the ring. Let's see what happens. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Let's see what happens. Fair play. Listen, I would be doing the same thing if I was in the sport. I'd be calling out the big guns. He would be saying to me, I'll bit off more than I can chew. But that's what life's all about. Boxing is like life. So you have to call out the big shots if you really want to be down. Do you know what I'm saying? You've got to call out the big shots. So fair play to him. Fair play to him for showing that ambition. Fair play to him.
No. Great points there. Great points. And Daniel, I want to get your thoughts on the Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. clash. Will you be paying your pay-per-view money for that on Saturday night?
Yes, I will. And I'm going to go for Roy Jones, gentlemen.
Yeah.
I'm going to go for Roy Jones.
Any reason?
Yeah, the reason is he only stopped boxing a couple of years ago. And, I think that might be the difference. It's a bit like maybe he stopped boxing a couple of years ago. I think that might be the little difference. And I think he'll do it. I'll go for Roy Jones Jr. to do the job.
Big. No. Appreciate that. Appreciate that comments. Listen, Dan, anything else you want to get off your chest before we move on to the next caller?
Yeah, just one more thing, gents. Daniel Dubois and Joe Joyce.
Yes,
I'm going to go for Daniel Dubois.
Okay.
To knock out Joe Joyce.
Okay. Any round? What round are you thinking?
Yeah, I'm going to go for the 4th round, mate.
Okay. I can't believe I thought we started with that. So yeah, no, that's thanks for reminding us. So yeah, we're looking forward to that fight this weekend. So we've got you down here with a Dubois within the 4th round, or within 4 rounds. Perfect. Listen, Dan, thank you as always. And look forward to catching up with you next week to go through the predictions or the results. 100%.
Let's keep up the good work, yeah?
Appreciate that.
Cheers, mate.
Cheers, thank you.
Yeah, no worries. God bless you all. Take care.
Bless. And we're going out to 446. 446. Hello.
Yes, boys.
Yes, Inam, what's going on?
What's happening, brother?
How you doing?
We're doing
good, man.
Doing good. How you doing?
In Dubai.
In country, man. So say that again.
Back from your tan in the vacation in Dubai.
Oh, bro, man. Amazing place. Can't disclose too much publicly because I will incriminate myself. Spectacular place to go on holiday, man.
No, I hear that. Talk to me, bro. Dubois or Joyce?
You know what, guys? I think I'm going to go with Dubois. And the reason I'm going for this is a couple of reasons. I've never really seen Joe Joyce fight backwards, right? I think he's quite slow on his feet, right? I've never truly seen him display good upper body movement or head movement, anything like that. There's all kind of things that, works very much in Dubois' favour, slow movement, tough forward coming target, right? Works brilliantly for Dubois. Saying that, looking at the recent pictures of Joe Joyce, it seems like he has trimmed down quite a bit, right? So I don't know if that's an indication of what the game plan is, right? Because coming forward against someone like Dubois is obviously not a good strategy, right? So I think they're going to try and outbox Dubois. They're going to probably be moving around a lot, moving around in circles quite a bit, hoping that over 7, 8, 9 rounds, the massive frame of Dubois wears him down until he's tired, yeah? Right, 8, 9 rounds following around another guy of that size, he will get tired, and the aim might be to knock him out late. So I think that would probably be Joe Joyce's game plan. For Dubois, it's going to be the standard: just come forward, and just try and KO Joyce early. And I think he's going to want to try and KO Joyce early because one of the best things about Joe Joyce is his engine. He will never stop. It's called the Juggernaut for a reason, right?
Yep.
So 5, 6, 7, 8 rounds following a guy around, you're going to get tired. You're going to be less vulnerable. So Dubois early, I was going to say 4, just like what Danny Appiah said earlier. So I reckon 4 or 5 rounds stoppage.
Yeah, no, that's a great breakdown. I mean, one of the things I would have said with Joyce, just to challenge the Dubois, I mean, do you think that Joyce's resume is going to stand him in good stead in terms of being able to set traps, work, being able to fight at a higher level than Dubois? You don't think that gives him a bit of an advantage?
I mean, it probably gives him an advantage only solely in terms of experience. He has fought slightly better caliber opponents, but he's never fought anyone like Dubois, right? In all the fights he's had, he's never fought anyone like Dubois. So, and he's never been hurt, right? So, what kind of experience he probably would have needed going into this, like if someone would have given him a chin check, right? And he's been able to get through it, or he's been hurt, and how he adapted himself after getting hurt. So I don't think there's any relevant experience there to really help him.
To help him. No, appreciate that. So before we go, I want to get your thoughts on Crawford versus Bob Arum. We've seen that it's not happy in the top ranked field. What's your thoughts on that?
My thoughts are exactly the same as Dana White, right? Bob Arum is a snake, right?
Don't hold back.
Snake, right? Bottom line is, you're his promoter, man. You're his promoter, right? That's why the guy's going into the gym and going and find another guy because he's going to get paid. And from his pay, from his money, he's going to give you your share, right? And your role is to build this guy's name up, right? Market him, send him to television shows, right? Build up his name and get him the fights that he wants, right? It's not his fucking problem if you're losing money. You're the businessman. You're the one that's done the contract with him, right? If you didn't want to keep him, you should let him go at the time. Yeah, you're the one that agreed the terms with him, so you can't be crying now. Right, that's life and that's business. If you truly think it's a loss, you should just accept what he's saying and let the guy go. Yeah, I'm with Crawford on this completely. I don't even buy this bullshit about Crawford's not marketable, right? Because like Hearn said, right, the guy's got characteristics to be marketable. He's a cheeky guy, right? He does a lot of practical jokes apparently, right? He connects with his community, right? And it's how you build up. Where have you ever seen resources being put into Crawford, like resources being put into someone like Lomachenko? I've never seen that, right? So I blame Arum completely on that, and I think Crawford should just say fuck off. I mean, his contract expires in October 2021. From the papers I've read, yeah. So he should go. He should definitely not fight Spence while he's in top rank. So like, you're gonna lose money, man. If you're gonna talk to me about like that, there's no way I'm gonna stick around so you make money on me. Yeah. So I'm with Crawford on this, and he should go. And he should go to PBC. Which he should have gone in the first place anyway. Yeah.
No, that's great points. And lastly, before we let you leave, Mike Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah. To be honest, I'm not going to watch it, man. Like, I don't know if you've seen the rules, right? There's about 7, 8 rules.
Yeah, I see them.
Judges,
yeah.
Right? So there's no one can win.
Yeah.
You can't knock anyone out. It is purely an exhibition.
I know.
There's no betting allowed, right? So it's not a fight. I don't know what it is.
So it's called an exhibition, and they've even said so. It's 8 rounds, eight rounds, and they're all 2-minute rounds. I think Adesanya is commentating. The UFC guy, and they said if a cut occurs anywhere, the fight is over. So if a cut happens after 10 seconds, the fight's done. What?
Yeah. To be honest, I don't know. I'm not gonna watch it. Even the undercard is like, they got Purdue Jack, and that's it. Really. Yeah. I mean, personally,
Logan Paul.
Yeah, you're not going for Logan Paul, bro. I thought that was your man.
Logan Paul, I'm a massive Logan Paul fan, man. He's the next star in boxing.
Yeah, exactly.
Next biggest star in boxing.
So listen, last point from you.
Yeah, go on.
No, I was going to say last point. Anything you want to say, get off your chest before we move on?
Yeah, no, man. It's just like I just want to talk about Arum and Crawford, which we've done. Obviously go through the Joyce stuff, which we covered. I want to touch briefly on Conor Benn as well. I thought he done really, really well.
Okay.
And And yeah, I think it's great he's calling out Josh Kelly, right? I think he can be Josh Kelly, right? Josh Kelly is, I think is highly overrated. Yeah, we saw that fight he had in America, where all his like little slinging and dancing, you know, he nearly came unstuck, right? So I think it's great he's called out Josh Kelly, and I think he can beat him. I definitely can beat him. Conor has improved massively, you know.
Okay, no, fair point. I mean, I think he done well. But yeah, I think time will tell, right? That's the best way to put that one. Time will tell. So listen, Nam, appreciate you calling in as always, showing the support. So we're going to move on to the next caller, but thank you again.
Cool, man.
All right, take care, man.
Cheers.
In a bit, bye. Before we go, we're going to go. So we had a comment from Cadogan McQueen. Good show. Appreciate that. Appreciate the comment. He's picking a prediction win for Dubois and Mike Tyson. So looking forward to seeing that double prediction on Saturday. We're going out to the next caller, 783. The floor is yours. Hello.
What's happening?
What's going on?
I can't hear you.
Can you hear us?
Yeah. MK, what's happening?
Yes.
Oh, MK, I thought it was the way. Damn, got your name wrong, bro. Apologies.
I'm good. My battery's low, man. I gotta be quick.
All right, be quick. Spit it out, man. Tell us.
Talk to me.
I was impressed with his performance. Still getting tagged a bit, but that's his style, and he's always gonna get hit. But he looked proper, like he looked explosive, bro. Putting the punches together, and he just looked too much for him.
Yeah.
Crawford, he needs to leave my man because all the top welterweights are with Heyman. So being with Bob Arum is holding him back. And Bob Arum said a comment like, "I could have bought a house in Beverly Hills." Like he's disrespecting, innit? He's disrespecting Crawford. Like it's your job to promote him, innit? That's your job. You're a promoter. I don't care what he is, bro. It's your job as a promoter. Even if you've got the most dullest guy, but he's got skills. That's your job. You got to send him to the public. You want him to do your job for you.
Yeah.
No, you're the promoter. It's your job. Dubois, Joyce. I don't know, bro. Joyce is a machine, you know.
Yeah.
Joyce is a machine. I don't know. Everyone thinks Dubois, but bro, Joyce is a machine. So
That's what I'm saying.
I'll be surprised if he grabs it.
Yeah. I mean, it's a big 50-50 fight, no? Oh, I think we lost him. Yep, we lost him.
Yeah, that's dedication right there, man.
That's what we like that, man. He gave that final juice on the battery. So
yeah, no, I hear that.
Good callers as always. So before we wrap up, let's move on to what did I see there? Give me 1 second. Let's move on to the fight Jacobs versus Rosado taking place this Saturday. The middleweight clash. We've got the Taylor, the tape. Danny Jacobs, 36-3. Those three losses.
Though, that record doesn't do him justice, though, man.
I mean, to be fair, he fought Canelo and Golovkin, and there was one obviously kind of. I'm not going to say
back in the day, yeah.
And can you believe it? I had Rosado's. I'm going to have to pull up Rosado's. Give me 1 second. I was slipping on that one. So we got Danny Jacobs there, 36-3. He's making his return since the loss to Canelo. We've also got Danny Risado, who's 25-12 losses. He's one of those losses. Names like Martin Murray. So Sheki, the guy who Jacobs beat. So I think this is a weird one because it's a stay busy fight for Jacobs. It's a name that's recognized in the US. But leading to what Uncle's point was, I see this being a handy win for Danny Jacobs. And I'll be honest, I wouldn't be surprised if it's a bit of a beatdown. I think there's been a bit of bad tension, bad blood in the build-up.
Yeah, he's been calling him out for time. Even before that, he's been calling him out for the longest. Yeah. I think that was just him trying to get a fight and, purses and everything not going, money and everything being quite tight in the boxing game right now. I think Eddie just said to him, or Frank just said to him, do you want this fight? He's going to X. Jacobs like, yeah, why not?
Yeah, so I think it makes sense. But I want to move on from this because, I mean, we're going to quickly go to the predictions. But my point on this Jacobs fight, I know it wouldn't happen, but I would really like Danny Jacobs at the end of the fight, should he get the win against Rosado, which I think he will. I would love for him to aggressively call out Billy Joe Saunders. I think Billy Joe Saunders has kind of been wasting a bit of time fighting Martin Murray in December, in 2 weeks' time. It is what it is. Stay busy clash. It's COVID. But for me, Billy Joe Saunders it's like he has a good fight, and then he just drops off. And I think Danny Jacobs versus Billy Joe Saunders has got all the minerals to make a quality fight. You're talking about styles, and I think for Billy Joe, if he can win that fight to really be put on a next level, I think he's got to beat Billy Joe Saunders because he's got to beat Danny Jacobs. I don't think he's going to get near Canelo for a while. I'm just going to be frank, bro. I don't.
No, he's not, man.
So if it's not Triple G and we're talking about an aging Triple G, I think a Jacobs is a huge win. It really gets his name out there in the American market, and then he might be able to negotiate a big Canelo for. What's your
I mean, look, great fight. I think if that happens, Jacob just needs to do the business touch when he gets through. When he gets through. I wanted to call out Billy Joe. That's a huge class. Americans versus the UK traveling scene. I think that's such a big fight in the middleweight division. I think that's one Billy Joe thinks he could win. I think he definitely has the opportunity to win, but I think Jacobs is going to be too much for him. But ultimately, that's just one man's opinion. But if that does happen, or if he doesn't, there's always the Eubank fight, which is always going to be there. It's always going to do numbers. Eubank's been sitting there waiting to fight for God knows how long. There's an opportunity right there to fight him, and you guys to have it out. I think Eubank Jr. actually beats Billy Joe. I believe it.
Well, in a rematch, yeah?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. No
shadow of a doubt in my mind. Especially now he's kind of listened and he's got Roy Jones Jr. in his camp and he's training in Fort Lauderdale.
Jones has been busy for his own fight, bro, his own exhibition bout.
No, I hear that, no, for sure. But no, Eubank, I think he's got a lot to prove and he's got that grit in his teeth. And I think he wants to leave with a title, a proper title, before he kind of called boxing quits. But which I can't imagine will be, not too far away.
Yeah. No, great points there. So moving on, last point of the day, we got the announcement last week. Canelo is making his return.
Bro, that dropped the day of the show last week. I was fuming.
Like at midnight, so we had done the show by the time we were done. But yeah, we've seen that Canelo taking on Callum Smith. I think it's a huge fight, great opportunity, not just for Canelo to solidify his name as a pound-for-pound fighter, but also for Callum Smith to kind of go up there and test his mettle against one of the best in the business. And we won't get into that fight now, but just to say it's only a few weeks away, so look forward to chopping it up in more detail. Before we go, bro, it's the moment of truth. Prediction time. So Dubois versus Joyce, I think that's the best place to start. Who are you going for, bro?
I'm going for Joyce. I'm going for Dubois, sorry.
Yeah.
6th round knockout, Dubois.
Okay. Good specific. I will say I'm going to long it out. I did start with Joyce. I'm now leaning towards Dubois. Not necessarily
I believe in him.
The big fighter, but I just think the power might get to Joyce. So I'm really looking forward to this fight. I am picking Daniel Dubois. Of course, I wouldn't be upset if Joyce was to win, but I am picking Daniel Dubois in a tough fight. I don't think it will be early. I think it might be later rounds as well. I think 7 to 10.
Yeah, definitely, bro. Joyce has got more to lose. Joyce has got way more to lose here. Let's not get it twisted. Joyce,
but that means he could turn up. It means he could turn up. So I think I'm not in favor of who wins or loses. I think we have to make a pick, right? And that's who I'm going with.
Boxing wins.
Boxing wins. Frank Warren wins because he's got both of them under his stable. So Frank Warren is the true winner. That's what I should have said. But listen to everybody supporting up, making the calls, leaving comments. Love that. Really do appreciate it. We want to hear from you guys as regularly as possible. Before we go, Sam, do you want to shout out your social media handles?
Yes, shout me out. Hit me up. SDWOTV. SDWOTV, or just hit me up on the Raps account, Raps on TV. Yeah, man, just keep watching, subscribing. Got a few specials. End of year specials being built soon. Gonna put a panel together. So listen, people, if you want to send us your thoughts, what you want to see, and we'll make it happen.
100%. Wherever you see this video, leave a comment below and let us know your thoughts, what you'd like to see us produce more of, and we'll be doing our best to do so. So listen, guys, we're gonna love you and leave you, but enjoy the boxing this weekend. Don't forget, it's Dubois versus Joyce. Then you've got Tyson versus Roy Jones Jr. And then we lead into fight week for the big welterweight clash, Errol Spence Jr. taking on Danny Garcia. So to everyone that's been supporting as usual, love, Raps on TV. We're out.
Cheers.